Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 706 of the Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Monday, August 4th, 2025, and it looks like it's trying to be a nice sunny day here at the Beaver Lodge, but we'll see what actually happens here. But it looks like the sun's making an effort. I'm your
A little
host.
smoky here.
I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A. And as you can hear with me, as usual, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. And your good friend, Mr. Grizzly. He's our good friend, Mr. Grizzly. You have your own theme song now.
I'll take it.
Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corbin Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. But before we go any further, Mr. Grizzly, how is your mental health today, sir?
I'd say it's pretty good. Keeping the routine. I'm keeping the routine. So I was up at 4 and took Lola out at 4:30 for a nice walk. Actually, it was 4:20 by the time we left the house. We left the house a little bit earlier today. Took her out for about 40 minutes and brought her back in because I want to keep her routine familiar for her. My routine's easy, but it's, and here's the thing. Before I even walked into the living room, because last night she slept on the couch. She does that sometimes. She was sitting there at the front door just staring at me like, okay, it's time to go. Are we going? Let's go. It's time to go. I'm like, yeah, she knows. It's Monday. We get up early. She knows the weekend. We sleep in. She's a smart girl. So, yeah, had a nice walk, met a couple of nice people. Again, like I told you, we were talking the other day, and I was telling Mr. Beaver how you'd be surprised how many people are up and around at 4:30 in the morning on Elgin Street. Not like crowds of people, but people that want to talk. Of course, they see Lola and they want to come over and say hi. And yeah, no problem.
Right.
Usually quite a few. And when I walk past Elgin Street Diner, there's usually a construction crew who is either getting ready to start their day or have ended it. I don't know, but they're in there having breakfast at 4:30. So I anticipate they've probably finished like an overnight shift, a road crew or something like that. But I don't know.
Okay, good stuff. I'm doing well. Unfortunately, another short night, a little bit of insomnia. Well, insomnia. I happen to have fallen asleep quite twice during the day for naps that were maybe a little longer than a nap would be. So when it came time for my regular bedtime, I wasn't tired. So I was up. I threw my clock off a little bit, so hopefully I'll get back on schedule. But spirits are good. But you know how sometimes your eyes burn a little when you haven't slept enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that going on right now.
Mm.
But good spirits And so far, handling well. Um, Lack of cuddles. I
Mm.
don't know how long that will last, but
Yeah.
so far
He's in
going.
Romania for how long? 4
Uh,
weeks?
yeah, until the end. Yeah, it comes back on the 31st.
Well, and I mean, that's when you have that much time off, take advantage of it, right? When you go
Right.
visit, because y I mean, he's got a lot of family there, right? So he'd
Yep.
wanna visit as much as possible and see things he hasn't seen in a couple of years because it's been 3 years?
Exactly. Oh, yeah, and I mean, about 3 years, maybe well, around the time we got the house, so close to 4 now.
Yeah, and
Um,
that was not a vacation.
exactly, yeah, it was to settle in the state.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is, and, the one of the 2 main reasons I couldn't go was because, if we're, doing tourism in city and walking about 10K a day, um, my
Mhm.
foot's not handling that, but Alex also is gonna spend about a week in the mountains, and the mountains there are not the Gatineau Hills, so,
Yeah,
right?
they're
The
like the Rockies, they're proper mountains,
the
yeah.
yes, the climbing's a little more, involved, so,
There are trails, but there's passages where, okay, you're going up a steep pitch for 5, 10 minutes, and
yeah, and
y
there are other passes where they're sort of like, depending on the mountain range, like ladders and chains.
yes,
You're
yeah.
going up and down, and yeah, I mean, even with a good foot, I'm probably not doing ladders and chains. I
Well,
don't
my,
need
s
that.
like, last hike I did through the Rockies with my buddy, when I was out in Calgary, we did a fairly decent one, and, it's about an hour up and about an hour down, something like that. I can't remember but I'm like, are we getting there?" And he's like, "Why, are you okay?" I said, My legs are fine. My back is fine." I go, I have no lung capacity, and I've never had lung capacity, and probably, asthmatic as a child and, allergic to damn near everything, and, oh, yeah, I grew up in the '70s, you know, where everybody smoked everywhere at all times. They "What a cute baby." That did take place. It's not just a thing on The Simpsons. It really did a lot.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
know that's got something to do with it for sure, but I've never had lung capacity. It's like I could not be a marathoner. I can't do it. I can sprint,
right.
do 100 meters, and then after that, I'm ready to pass out, which is why playing goalie was my ideal thing, right? My legs don't
Ah,
hurt. I just don't I can't breathe.
yep, I can understand that. Alright, let's take a little look into the magic monitor and see who we have today. We have Kit Uncover bringing us the news. Good morning. Kit Elaine and Kit Saucy are here. Good morning to both of you. Who else do we have? Kit Bucky here. Thank you, saying good morning, all. Kit PNC Bio wishing good morning to everyone. Also, Grace saying good smoky morning, everyone. Ooh, I hope it's not too bad where you are. Kit Argosi Acres wishing everyone good morning as well. And going down the list here, Kit Wishful is with us. Hello. And so is Kit Sharon. Oh, Kit Jason. I think that's a new, yeah, well, not a new name,
No,
but it's been a
Jason's been
while.
around.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
indeed.
hasn't been here in a bit, yeah.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Been a while. It's nice to have you with us. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. And Linda M, of course, the original and the best. Good morning to you. Kit Tim is also with us. Glad that you're here. Going through that list. Is any of it? Oh, Kit Christian, bonjour. I get up early for some peace. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I can understand that. It can be.
I'll try and bring you some.
And I believe that's everyone we have today. Uh, no doubt that there are a certain number of people who are choosing to sleep in today because it is a holiday Monday in several places throughout the country.
Mhm.
It is here in Ontario where we are, and it is also uh, British Columbia Day in BC, Natal Day in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick Day, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan Day in Saskatchewan, Terry Fox Day in Manitoba, and there's probably even more provinces and
No.
territories where there's stuff going on today.
Well, I don't know if it's a provincial wide it's considered this, but in Ottawa, it's Colonel By Day. I don't know if that's provincial.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think that a lot of regions have chosen in the day because it's Simcoe Day in certain other
Right.
areas, I believe,
Well,
today?
and here's the thing, it's a civic holiday. It's not a statutory holiday.
No.
And, I explained this before, so I won't go through it again, but, companies do not have to pay you for today. Private companies do not have to pay you because it's a civic holiday, not a statutory holiday. So there's only been one company in my entire life I ever worked for where they said, "Oh, no, you don't get paid for Monday." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's a statutory holiday." "No, it's a civic holiday." I'm like, "What?" They go, "Yeah, it's a civic holiday, so you don't get paid for it." One company in my entire life just didn't want to pay their employees for that day. And one of the other partners, when he found out, he got pissed and said, "That ain't happening anymore. From here on out, next year, everybody's getting paid." And he's like, but he goes, "I don't give a shit. It's a reward for them. You don't punish your employees on that day. They're expecting money. Every place they've ever worked, they've always been paid for that day. We can suck it up. It's one day." He says,
Yeah.
"What you're doing is punishing them right now because there is no work lined up because everything is closed. They can't come into work, but they can't earn money either. It's not cool." So yeah, that changed, but it was like literally, I'd never heard that before. I didn't know. So yeah, I'd say the vast majority of companies, 99.9%, choose to pay their employees because it's just the right thing to do. Now, I'm actually not going to get paid for this one.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
It's only because I've only been there 2 weeks, right?
Okay. Right.
It's just how it works. They explained that to me. I said, "Yeah, no, I understand that. Once you've done your 90 days, everything changes, but your 90-day period." So I'm not offended by it. I knew it going in. I wouldn't get paid for today because I haven't been there long enough. That's just how it goes, right?
Right.
But yeah, next year I get paid. I looked at my schedule. It's like, yeah, I get paid for everything next year. So
Okay. It's also Heritage Day in Alberta. And if in Ontario, there's other places. So in Burlington, it's called Joseph Brant Day.
there you
In
go.
the city of Vaughan, it's Benjamin Vaughan Day. So, and
Yes,
it
all over
also,
the province, it's a different day.
yes. And I have a text here that says that it's called Regatta Day in Newfoundland, but the calendar that I have says that Regatta Day is actually on Wednesday and not today.
Well, that might be accurate, but the regatta happens on the August long weekend, and the Monday's the holiday.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe Regatta Day might be a fixed date, but it's unofficially Regatta Day today, if you will, because it's the big regatta. It's the oldest sporting event in all of North America.
Yeah, exactly. I thought there was something in Yukon today too, but I guess I could be wrong on that one. Oh well, I'll check it during a clip and see. But for some reason, in the back of my head, I have something saying, "Isn't there something going on in Yukon today as well?"
Well, it's McLaughlin Day in Oshawa as of 1983, celebrating Robert McLaughlin, who brought General Motors to Oshawa. Colonel By Day in Ottawa, starting in 1996.
There
So
you go.
29 years ago.
Huh. Yeah. It's fairly recent that they changed it. That the cities were making it a sort of like a local founders day
Well,
type thing.
we're watching a series last night, without getting into the nitty-gritty of the series, but it's a time travel thing, right? And at one point, Bridget says, "Is Michael J. Fox a producer?" I go, "Well, maybe, but he's not in the program." She goes, "Well, it should be good to have him. He knows how to travel through time." And I chuckled. That's pretty good. I said, "Did you realize if they made Back to the Future today, he'd be going back to 1995?
Okay.
Number one. Number two, the culture shock wouldn't have been that great
Right.
because the internet existed, cell phones existed,
Right.
laptops existed. Now, you didn't have smartphones that can do what we can do. That would have been something from the future, but everything else would have been, like not that shocking. Now, from a technological perspective, it wouldn't have been that shocking. But from the perspective of if you watch a movie from 1995 with today's lens, it's like
Yeah, there's a couple of things that are
a lot of open sexism. And at the time, we thought we were being really, what was that movie I talked to you about recently? The one with Sigourney Weaver, and it's about a serial killer.
copycat.
Copycat, yes. I remember watching that thing. What a great movie. And I watched it again recently and went, yeesh, there's a lot of sexism in there. A lot of like, it's just shocking by today's standards.
Yes.
So in that respect, somebody traveling from 2025 to 1995 would have been shocked about those things.
I could see that. Yeah.
And how sort of, I would say, in the shadows, the rainbow community was in 1995 versus 2025. But from a technology standpoint, it wouldn't have been that great of a swing, right?
Right. Exactly. No, I liked Copycat.
It was a great movie.
Yeah, very much.
If you rewatch it, it'd be like,
yeah.
Ooh.
But it's like I was like when I saw the posters, I'm thinking like Harry Connick Jr. Really?
Yeah.
Because didn't really know him as an actor like this, and certainly when singers take on an acting role, usually it's something close, like Madonna, Desperately Seeking Susan, somewhat close, but like, Harry Connick Jr. is a sweetheart.
He played a variation of an actual guy who Henry Lee Lucas. He was playing a variation of Henry Lee Lucas, who was a notorious serial killer and who claimed he had committed all these other crimes and murders. That it turns out he liked that he'd get out of prison and they'd take him and he'd show them where the bodies were. Now, oftentimes he was correct, oddly enough, but as it turned out, many of them he had nothing to do with. Somehow he knew where they were. And he wasn't always 100% correct, but he just liked the notoriety of it. He'd get to be on TV. He'd get to be out for a day or a couple of days if it went to another part of the country. Yeah. Anyway, he died of cancer heart disease a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't a good man.
No, not at all. But I was like really, I was surprised by the performance, and for the longest time, it remained was one of my. If somebody was asking like, what's a performance in a movie that surprised you, or what's a role that you never imagined anybody could take, there's one right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because he was too good in that role. It made me wonder a bit. But yeah, I do. It was, me too. It was one of my favorite movies. I haven't seen it lately, so it would be interesting to see how things change. There are other movies like that. Like as I was a kid, my favorite movie was Grease.
Yeah.
I watched today's. Oh my!
We watched that recently. She went, "Oh my goodness!" I go, "Yeah." Watch Saturday Night Fever.
Oh.
It does not translate to 2025 at all. It's really harsh.
I can imagine. It's like,
like if you seriously go and watch it, and about 15 minutes in, you'd be like, "I'm out of here."
Okay.
They wouldn't make a movie like that today. Honest to goodness, they really wouldn't. If they did, they'd have to rewrite the entire dialogue portion of the script. The scenes could remain the same, but the dialogue would be completely different because a lot of C-bombs in that one, and referring to women as that directly to their face frequently.
Okay.
Women were objects in that film. Nothing more.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Yeah. All right. Since you mentioned the rainbow community a little bit here, Mr. Grizzly, there's a little clip there that I put in the chat there.
I did see that yesterday, actually.
Yes. This weekend was Vancouver Pride. So, and something happened in that. I hope it's a new tradition that being started, but one of
Okay, I'm gonna have to kill the song, or we're gonna get a copyright.
Yeah. So here we have Prime Minister Mark Carney at Vancouver Pride, seeming to be getting along with everyone. Of course, I noticed the shoes because I'm fabulous, and I noticed that wherever he goes, he's got that 3-piece suit. But this time he's wearing very sensible sneakers.
Well, it's just a 2-piecer though, too.
Yeah, 2-piece. Sorry. and but very sensible shoes for walking this time
Mm.
around, which I'm sure is going to cause some conservative heads to explode because for some reason for the last decade they're completely obsessed with fashion, but that goes below the ankles,
Yeah,
especially
it's
when liberal men are wearing them.
very strange and bizarre behavior.
But
It's just what? What?
this is now the second time that a sitting prime minister actually attends a pride. Or not the
Yes,
second time, I should say, the second prime minister.
second prime minister, correct.
Yes, because in a row,
Well,
consecutively.
he has children, and I believe one of his one of his children. Yeah, for some reason that was not sounding right in my head. One of his children is part of the rainbow community,
Yes,
if memory serves.
I believe so, yes. Um, so, yeah, very happy to see that.
Well, again, he's a progressive. Period. He's a
Oh, yeah,
progressive.
yes, yes. And this falls on the heels of an article that I saw appear in BlogTO 6 days ago by Isabel Ducto, and that says members of the LGBTQ plus community have more to consider when it comes to their safety when choosing a travel destination. A country's laws surrounding LGBTQ plus rights or the general population's attitude towards the community are some factors that could indicate whether it's a safe environment for travelers. A3M Global Monitoring, a risk assessment company for business and leisure travelers, recently published its LGBTQ plus risk map, which assesses the safety of Globetrotters from the community. The company noted that there are important nuances they took into account when conducting their research. Firstly, it stressed that no country is, quote, homogeneous, and that attitudes towards the community could vary in rural areas and cities. Quote, there can be significant differences between official policies, rules, and regulations and the experiences of the community in their everyday lives, explained the report. There are countries that have extremely strict laws regarding homosexuality, but where a very active underground gay scene flourishes. The report adds that laws in, quote, less secure countries typically deal with homosexuality, while issues surrounding trans and non-binary rights are sometimes not even given separate legal consideration, and the way they are dealt with varies according to country and region-specific traditions. Lastly, the company acknowledges that the situation for tourists or business travelers may differ significantly from that of locals and immigrants. Quote, taking all these caveats into account, we have nevertheless decided to base our LGBTQ plus risk map 2025 largely on a legal perspective, reads the report. Quote, in some cases, we are able to interview LGBTQ plus organizations and members of the community in order to take their lived experiences in the country to account. The company's map color codes countries under 5 levels, ranging from level 1 dark green to level 5 dark red. The report ranked the top 10 safest countries for LGBTQ plus travelers to visit based on these criteria. And based on these criteria, number 10 is Andorra, number 9, Germany, number 8, Uruguay, number 7, Denmark, number 6, Norway, number 5, Spain, number 4, Canada. Number 3, the Netherlands. Number 2, Iceland. And number 1, Malta.
Yes.
Who knew? I didn't. And then the top 10 most unsafe 10, Pakistan. 9, Malaysia. 8, Tanzania. 7, the United Arab Emirates. 6, Afghanistan. 5, Uganda. 4, Yemen. 3, Somalia. 2, Saudi Arabia. And number 1, Iran. Canada was named the 4th safest country in the world for people in the community to travel to. It's labeled as a low-risk country for LGBTQ plus people to visit. It took decades of progress for Canada to become a safer space for the community. Homosexuality wasn't decriminalized until 1969. In 1996, the Canadian Human Rights Act was amended to specifically include sexual orientation as one of the prohibited grounds of discrimination. Almost a decade later, same-sex marriage was legalized in Canada on July 20th, 2005. So we just celebrated the 20th anniversary of that. And over here, Kits and Cubs, just to give you a quick show here, this is the map that they just published with green being the safest countries, and then orange, the next most safe, and then, darker green, lighter green, and then yellow,
Right.
orange, red being the most dangerous here.
I'm
So,
surprised the United States of America is only yellow right now.
hmm well,
Now let me temper that with I'm referring to its government, not its
yes,
people,
yes,
because the vast majority of Americans have no issues.
exactly.
There's a group that does, but the government is the problem right now there.
Yeah, indeed. So, as you can see here, um, still a decent amount of green
Mhm,
on the map,
mhm.
but and I mean, you know, yellow. You can still there is still stuff. Uh, you know, how would I put it? You don't necessarily have to live in fear, but
Well, yeah.
it's not great.
Well, and if you look at a lot of the countries in the African continent, that has more to do, again, with government than it does with people
Yeah, exactly.
in many,
That's
many
what they were saying
instances.
here, because
And there
South
are
Africa is
some
the only one that's green.
Yeah, yes, and there are some, governments there that are only that way because of right-wing evangelical crystal fascists from the United States of America who went there and spread hatred.
Yep.
There are documentaries about this. I'm not making it up. It's a fact. You can go and watch the documentaries if you choose to seek them out. They do exist. It is well documented.
Yep, indeed. So Malta took the top spot for enshrining registered partnerships in 2014, marriage in 2017, banning conversion therapy in 2016, and allowing gender self-ID since 2015. The report also ranked the top 10 most unsafe countries for people in the community to travel to. Iran took the top spot as homosexuality is still criminalized in the country with same-sex acts punishable by lashes or the death penalty. Quote, although trans people occasionally receive state-supported gender reassignment surgery, the attitude of large sections of society towards people from LGBTQ plus community is predominantly negative, even hostile. Travelers are at the highest risk. Even suspicion of homosexuality can result in immediate arrest, torture, or even execution. The company also listed the top 10 countries with positive and negative development when it comes to LGBTQ plus legislation. The United States ranks sixth in the negative development, according to the report, which cited US President Donald Trump's second presidency. Quote, a clear trend towards restricting the rights of trans people can be observed in the US. The official position of Trump's government is the rejection of non binary gender identities and transgender identity, it reads. Uh,
Mm.
so, yeah, a little thing out there about which to be proud. One of the safest countries to go. And I believe um, recently as well, there was some polling uh, about Canadian attitudes to same sex marriage. And overwhelmingly now throughout the country, um, there is great support for it. Um, Here I have some stuff here. It's all from a year ago, from Ipsos here, but it says so a year ago. Most Canadians agree that same-sex couples should be able to marry or have legal recognition, should have the same rights to adopt children as heterosexual couples, and that lesbian, gay, and bisexual people should be protected from discrimination. Support for all of these is higher in Canada than the average of 26 countries globally that they rated here. Support among Canadians for various aspects of LGBTQ plus visibility, including LGBT plus characters on screen, in sports, and in public displays of affection, is lower now than 3 years ago. Support in Canada is lower in most cases than the 26 country average. So, I mean, we are. Um,
Well, you know who you can thank for that, right?
yes, exactly. Exactly. So, in Canada, for example, 61% of Canadians believe that there should be more LGBT characters on TV and films and in advertising, but the average of the 26 countries that Ipsos evaluated here was 50%, so like 11% higher than the average. Openly lesbian, gay, and bisexual athletes in sports teams, 61%, which is 12% above the average. Companies and brands actively promoting equality for LGBTQ plus people, that's 53% in Canada, which is also 11% higher than the average. Now in this cases, we're now getting to the points where the average is um, uh, below 50%. LGBTQ plus people being open about their sexual orientation and gender identity with everyone. Um, oh, sorry, I misread that. I'm so terrible.
I just want to address Christian here quickly. I hear what you're saying, Christian, and I'm not arguing with you. I just don't wish to paint everyone with the same brush is all. That's all. That's it. That's why I said what I said when it comes to the American people. Not everybody supports what Trump is doing. Not everybody voted for Trump, and he may have cheated.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab a coffee. I'll be right back.
All right. Yes. Sorry. I misled you. Sorry. So, for more LGBT characters on TV and films and in advertising, 44. Oh my God, this is terrible. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to go by the graphic. The graphic is not particularly clear here in this thing here. Support among Canadians for various. I mentioned aspects of LGBT visibility is lower than 3 years ago, but higher than the 26 country average. Consistent with 2023, a strong majority of Canadians support protecting transgender people from discrimination in employment and housing and access to businesses. On specific measures in support of transgender issues, however, Canadians continue to be more divided and express lower support than in 2023. Support is lowest for health insurance coverage of gender transition and allowing expansive gender options for government-issued documents, both of which are also well below the average of the other 26 countries. Here. And then it says 3 in 10 Canadians have spoken out against someone who is prejudiced against LGBTQ plus people, while on par with the average for the 26 countries. This is lower than in 2021. The proportion of Canadians who have visited a bar or nightclub that caters primarily to LGBTQ plus people or have attended a public event in support of LGBTQ plus people is slightly higher than the global average, while the proportion of Canadians who have attended the wedding of a same-sex couple is slightly lower. Canadians aged 50 to 74 show the higher support for protecting LGBT plus people from discrimination in different aspects of life compared to younger Canadians.
Gen X, baby, Gen X.
Yeah, this is not good though.
Agreed.
This is
Which is astonishing to me because most of those younger people were raised by Gen X parents. So what the hell went on there?
Yeah, but this is again that when I keep on saying that we're losing the young men based on what's going on.
I think guys like Andrew Tate and all of his minions.
Yeah, exactly. So if we're looking at a graphic right here, the light blue is 18 to 34-year-olds, the purple is 35 to 49, and the pink is 50 to 74-year-olds. And you'll see, lesbian, gay, and bisexual people should be protected from discrimination in employment, housing, and access to business such as restaurant and stores. 84% of the oldest people believe this, but only 71% of the youngest group. And I'm old enough to remember when it was the complete opposite. Yeah. Transgender people should be protected from discrimination in employment, housing, and access to business such as restaurants and stores. 80% of people 50 to 74, the people that are supposedly from the older generations and wouldn't understand, are the people that most support this. And that drops to 69% for the 18 to 34. And then transgender people should be allowed to use single-sex facilities, public restrooms that correspond to the gender they identify with. That one, younger people support more. So, which is interesting because I guess just because more younger people have people that are openly fluid, probably in their circle. So that's 55% for younger people, and that drops to 39% for older people.
Well, and what I'm seeing more and more of in office buildings, private office buildings too, not just there. I'm not saying government ones, but office buildings. Gender neutral bathrooms or general neutral toilets. Let me rephrase that. There's no bath in there.
Right.
But the thing is, you walk into a space and it's all private closets, which I appreciate because going into a stall in a gender specific, usually I have 3 feet of space. You know what I mean? It's like there's no privacy.
No.
There's a giant gap in the door. I've had people literally go right up to the door and peek in at me. I'm like, if I'm peeing, I don't care. But if I'm seated, I like privacy. So when I go to a gender neutral toilet, I have my own private space. I close the door and I can do my business in peace. I am a big fan of that.
Yes.
I noticed that 20 years ago in Paris when I was at Les Galeries de Lafayette, 22 years ago, actually. And I was in Les Galeries de Lafayette and I walked up and they're like, oh, yeah, no, just go to the water closet. You know, it's not salle de bain, it's la toilette.
Right.
Or la toilette / WC, water closet. And sure enough, you come out and there's a big giant sink. Everybody was washing their hands. And I'm like, this is the way to do this. And I'm seeing it more and more. There's another reason, an incentive. This is why the Conservative Party should get on board with this, but they're not the fiscal party of responsibility, and they never have been, but they like to claim that they are. Do you realize how much money is saved in a building when you don't have to build twice as many facilities? You just build one. That's it. And they're
Right.
all identical. No urinals. They're all toilets, one sink. It's construction costs, water usage, all of it.
Right.
So this is how you pitch it to the progressive conservatives and go, do you realize when you build a new public space and you put in a gender-neutral toilets, you're saving money. It's a lot cheaper because you don't need to build as many spaces. There's no urinals. They're just toilets. They're blah, blah. And they're like, oh, shit, we can save money? This is how you get progressives on board with certain things. Show them the money that can be saved. Progressive conservatives, not the Reform Party Pierre Poilievre is trying to lead into oblivion, but actual progressive conservatives. You show them where the money can be saved. Same thing with the UBI. And I know guys who are lifelong conservatives who go, oh no, we'll save a lot of money with the UBI. And other conservatives, what are you talking about? You can't just give people money. They'll be lazy. It's like, no, actually, people need a purpose in life. We need to be able to give them a hand up by supporting them when they're having a rough patch. Give them enough money to live on. Because right now it's not enough to live on. Give them enough money to live on and they'll go back to school. They'll increase their education. They'll do whatever needs to be done. Yes, there are going to be some people who just won't work and accept that. And I know a lot of progressive conservatives who have said, oh, look, there's always going to be a percentage. There's a percentage that cannot work. You have to accept that, right? For whatever reason, there's some people just can't. And those people would love to be able to go to work because they'd love to have a purpose. And I've talked about this on this show for a long time over the last year. I felt purposeless and aimless. I have a purpose again, getting up and going to work. So social programs like a UBI, actual progressive conservatives see how it saves money.
Mhm.
Putting in gender-neutral toilets, they see how it saves money.
Indeed. Then the last group, last category in this thing is with regard to health insurance systems covering the cost of gender transition no differently than the costs of other medical procedures. There it is, younger Canadians supported by, again, about 11 to 10% more than older Canadians on that one. So it's really interesting that, the sense that lesbian, gay, and bisexual people should be protected from discrimination in employment and in housing, and that transgender people should be protected is lower. And maybe that's stems from a feeling that there's already so many protections that, how much more can we do? That type of thing, as opposed to older people who saw the fight for it, kind of happen. You want to hold on to that. I'm not sure if it means a lesser commitment, because on the other side of the ledger, when you're talking about transgender people, which is the group that everybody on the conservative side is wanting to bash down on because they think that people won't stand up for them, younger people support them more. So I'm sort of looking, had there been a lower support for things having to do with transgender people in terms of access to single-sex facilities or health insurance coverage for gender transition, had that been lower among the younger people than the older people, then I would be more concerned about the drop, protection for the other ones. But if in the group, out of all the LGBTQ, the group that's still the most marginalized, younger people support greater access and greater health insurance coverage for them, then I would have to conclude that the reason for the drop in support for protections is maybe just a general feeling that, you have most of the protections already. So maybe it's not, well, I mean, technically by law, we have all of them, but how it is, it's administered is different. right? But there isn't that much of a sense of urgency there for that. So support might be lower there because it is higher in the other one. I don't look at it as a particular negative, even though it is a surprising what surprises me is that the older generation is the group that's the most supportive in that particular case.
Hmm.
Yeah. But hey, that's
Maybe
good. I mean, technically, according to that survey, I'm in the older generation, though.
right. Well, and I'm going to go with maybe that demographic doesn't want to have younger people go through what they had to go through to get to where we are right now.
Exactly.
That's my guess. That's my guess.
That's pretty solid.
One other comment I want to make about gender neutral toilets. I've heard people talk about, well, that's when you'll get the sickos go in there and they'll commit a sex crime. I'm like, yes, because what's stopping them right now is that has a picture of a lady on the door. That's totally going to stop that person from committing that most ridiculous argument I've ever heard in my life. Yes, somebody who wants to do that is totally going to be stopped by a sign that says ladies. Come on.
Yep. I was going to go do something terrible to someone else, but the sign on the
that
door
says
says
ladies only,
ladies, so
so
I
I
guess I
can't go in there.
Ah.
I guess I can't go in there because that sign says ladies only.
Said no predator ever.
Exactly.
Actual predator ever.
That's right.
Right?
It's like, where do you come up with these arguments? You know what? Most of us just need to use a toilet. I'd say 99.999% of it just need to use the toilet.
I was going to rob this corner store, but they put a sign on the window saying, "Gone to the bathroom for 10 minutes. Sorry for the inconvenience." I guess I'll just go hit up the next one.
Yeah, I don't have time right now. I'm gonna rush. I gotta meet Stevie at 4 and it's 10:02 and I can't wait 10 minutes. I gotta go meet him right now.
I'm busy. Very, very busy. Burglar on the go.
There's a lot of people in this world who are incapable of critical thought. I hate to say it, but it's a fact.
Oh my God. All right. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Also, over the course of the weekend, some really interesting polling results. Just the general 38 Canada, the polling aggregator that I look at, and it seems like the honeymoon for the current government was just full on. The poll was just going up and up and up. Last week, well, 2 weeks ago, there was the first slight little break in that, and I thought, okay, it still has been a pretty, decent honeymoon here, and things are getting a little shakier with the United States. Deal, no deal, deal, no deal. It always seems to be no deal. So you would think, and you have the conservatives, losing their minds at the other end, going, "Oh my God, we haven't got a deal yet! Oh my God, it's so terrible! Everybody else has got a deal but us!" Okay, just remind you, kids and cubs, that the United States' 3 largest trading partners are Canada, Mexico, and China, and there's no deal with either of them. Right? And the EU, that's concepts of a deal. And Japan is concepts of a deal. And the concepts of a deal and the deal with Europe and Japan actually allow them to export cars into the United States with a lower tariff than actual cars coming off the Canada and Mexican border that actually has US parts in it, which is, it's a mess. There's no consistency.
Well,
there's no rhyme. There's no. It's just a mess. He's going to have to back down on a lot of those things too. Pardon?
Doug Ford on July 21st. We're encouraging all provinces and territories to start buying Canadian-made vehicles, start buying Canadian-made everything. Responding to a reporter's question regarding steel and aluminium tariffs ahead of premiers meetings in Huntsville. That was on the 21st of July. And yesterday, we learned? Questions are being raised about a major construction contract tied to Ontario's largest hospital project after a U.S.-owned company was awarded a $140 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
And who's responsible for awarding that contract? What government branch is it? Healthcare is a provincial thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently he canceled the Elon Musk Starlink
Yep,
contract.
finally got around to that, allegedly.
What did it cost us to get out of that $100 million contract, though? We don't
At
know.
first they weren't releasing the number, but I did thought I heard somewhere along the way that it was 10 million,
Oh, okay.
but I
Which,
could.
if we had just went to Best Buy and bought the bought the Starlink system, we could have spent about $10 million to provide it to everybody who needed it.
I know, ridiculous. But I might.
But again, conservatives are fiscally responsible, right?
Yeah, but don't quote me on that actually, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's someplace that's something a data point that I've seen at only one place, and I actually haven't seen corroborated anywhere else. But how long ago did he promise that? And he finally got around to that on July 30th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really want to do this. He didn't really want to do it. Now, when Trump went ahead with that latest 35%, from 25 to 35%, he couldn't. I guess he couldn't keep up the pretense anymore. So, but yes, up until at least 3 days ago here, what I'm looking in some newspaper reports here, it says that the government is refusing to disclose how much we are on the hook for the cancellation of the contract here. So yeah, don't quote me on that to 10 million. Like I said, that's a data point that wasn't corroborated. As far as I can tell here from what's in the press, we still don't know. So yeah, that's not great. It's amazing how with Doug Ford in particular, for some reason, we're not allowed to know what it is he is doing with our money, even though we elected him. Why? In order to be able to manage our money and spend it on our behalf. Yes, it seems that we're not allowed to know.
No, trust me, it's good. It's good.
Yes,
It's good. Don't worry about
exactly.
it. Trust me,
Now,
bro.
yes. According to Benjamin Lopez-Stevens of CBC News, it says that Dominic LeBlanc says that he expects Prime Minister Mark Carney and the U.S. President Donald Trump to have a conversation with each other over the next couple of days as Canada tries to find a new way out of a 35% blanket tariff on exports to the U.S. Quote, "We believe there's a great deal of common ground between the United States and Canada in terms of building two strong economies that work well together," said LeBlanc on Face the Nation. So he was on CBC's Face the Nation. LeBlanc left Washington earlier this week without a deal, but he told host Margaret Brennan he came out of discussions, quote, "with a better understanding of American concerns in the trading relationship. So we're prepared to stick around and do the work needed." Okay, and here's the thing that really just I cannot wrap my mind around. But he's been at this for quite a while now. And we are now in August. His presidency started in January.
Right.
He's been talking about tariffs since the time he was running, and we're our trading teams are still leaving meetings with a better understanding of the American concerns in the trading relation. Like, how long does it take to explain your goddamn concerns?
I mean, really?
All we're emerging with at this moment is a still yet a better understanding. Like, again, to all the people who are poo-pooing on the conservative side of the ledger, it's not because we are slow learners or we're not able to understand quickly. It's not because we needed explained it to us 35 times. It's because they keep on changing their mind 35 times. Because with all the meetings that they've had and the extremely high level of qualifications that our trade negotiators have, they are some of the best in the world. I cannot fathom a reality in which it is the Canadian side that is just so thick and dense between the ears that they can't understand.
Wow.
If this was a normal trade negotiation.
It's not normal. We got a guy who changes his mind every 30 seconds. Probably
Jeez.
syphilitic, for Christ's sake, and he has holes in his brain.
Okay, I keep on saying that Swiss cheese brain. On Friday, just after midnight, Canada's tariff rate rose to 35% following a Trump executive order that criticized Canada's lack of cooperation in curbing the flow of fentanyl southward and for retaliating against Trump's existing tariffs. I think it's more the latter than the former.
Mhm.
You stood up to me. You hurt my feeling. Yes, singular, on purpose. But only a very small number of Canadian products will actually be subjected to that rate, specifically goods not covered by the Canada-U.S. Mexico agreement, which governs trade between the three countries. And that's one thing we keep on needing to remember, kids and cubs, as well. The conservatives and all that block and movement and all their media machine and whatnot keep on saying, we have no deal, we have no deal. We actually have the bigger deal and the best deal out of any other nation in the world, save Mexico, of course, because they're in it with us. It's because no other nation has that type of deal. Right. And for some reason, I cannot explain yet with the Trump side, they are seeming to abide by certain portions of it while violating it three ways from Sunday with other things. But listen, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That one. In a separate interview on Face the Nation, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said Canada was the only country aside from China to retaliate against Trump's tariffs. And, well, the United States doesn't have a deal with China either. So there you go. And the whole thing with him going taco on Mexico, irony, uh, giving them a 90-day reprieve while we don't have one, which is, of course, is causing conservatives to, again, lose their mind and run around with their hair on fire. It's like, rather than looking at, well, that's Donald Trump. He always tries to divide and conquer. It's like, oh my God, we're missing out. We're failing. Everything is terrible. Mexico got a reprieve. Why not us? We must suck so hard. or, or we stood up to him because we have more cards to play than Mexico does. Maybe, right? Oh boy. If the president is going to take an action and the Canadians retaliate, the United States needs to maintain the integrity of our action, the effectiveness. So we have to go up, Greer told Evans, because, of course, in the United States, fair trade is we charge nothing for them to trade with us, and then we pay an admission fee in order to be able to have the privilege of trading with them because we don't have anything they need. Remember? They have a trade surplus with us because they keep on buying our shit, but we have nothing they need.
No water, no lumber, no cars, no steel, no aluminum, no uranium, no nothing. No. We have nothing they need.
Nothing at all. When asked whether Canada should drop its counter tariffs, LeBlanc cited Ottawa's 25% counter tariff on U.S. steel and aluminum imports. There's a 50% tariff when we want to sell steel into the United States, so effectively we're blocked from doing that. But the national security interests of Canada requires we have a viable steel and aluminum sector. Trump invoked his 35% levy using a law that allows the U.S. president to take emergency economic measures to deal with any unusual and extraordinary threat to national security. That tariff is facing a legal challenge that has now reached a federal appeals court, putting it further along in the U.S. court system than any other tariff lawsuit. So, and then, of course, we emerged from August 1st. And of course, this had been properly telegraphed as well, that it looked like no deal was going to happen. And of course, when that happened, Pierre Poilievre, rather than being, the guy that's on Team Canada and, saying that, that's what dealing with Trump is like. And, we'll stand strong and all that kind of stuff. Well, he decided to go another way. Mark Carney sent everyone home for summer vacation with no budget, a spiraling deficit, inflation up, elbows down, no new resource projects approved, and the worst drop in home building in decades. Sure, there have been lots of meetings, politicians patting each other on the back, press conferences, but no results and no plan to get us out of this mess. Yes, indeed. Canada's national narcissistic nexus of nonstop negativity. And then On August 1st specifically, conservatives share Canadians' disappointment that a deal with the United States was not reached by the August 1st deadline. Canada faces more U.S. tariffs than ever before, and we stand united with all workers facing devastation from unjustified tariffs on steel, aluminum, softwood, auto, and agriculture. These deeply misguided policies will hurt families and businesses on both sides of the border. Conservatives call for policies to take back control of our economic future by breaking our dependence on the U.S. We call on the Liberals to repeal their anti development laws and cut taxes on work, energy, investment, and home building to make our economy strong, self reliant, and sovereign. We will always put Canada first by working with all parties to get a deal that ends the tariffs and protects our sovereignty. So, all the things that he's asking us to repeal are things that make Donald Trump's life easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how we put Canada first, by making it easier. So, when these conservatives keep on going elbows up, like, I find that they're a very interesting position to be able to do that because they're face down, ass up.
All times. At all times. So you can turn them into a bike rack. Yeah, it's a bike rack.
I'm sorry. So yeah, Pierre is choosing to do the same things he always does. Say how we're terrible. We're screwing things up. Well, again, you would think that national public opinion would start to be shifting downward. Well, it turns out that that little adjustment from last week was merely a blip. Oh, look at that. So again, that little blip right here, and then back up to regularly scheduled increases. Now the gap between the Liberals and the Conservatives is at 8% nationally. And if you look at that in terms of seats, we're looking at 195 if an election was happening today for the Liberals and 119 for the Conservatives.
So what it turns out...
Can we change that by-election into a full election?
What it turns out is people were not fed up or hating the actual party in power. They just had leader fatigue and wanted Justin gone. So Justin left, and now we have a progressive conservative prime minister who is in the Liberal Party. And look at those numbers.
If an election were had today, 78% of the chances would be that it's a Liberal majority. And that's the highest it's been since Mark Carney has taken over as Prime Minister.
I am so anticipating August 18th. I'm so anticipating the results of that by-election. I don't know what it's going to turn out. I don't know who's going to win, in all honesty. Look, when it was first, this is what he's going to be doing, I'm like, well, there's a good chance he's probably going to win it. But the feedback online from the vast public is kind of like, no, that doesn't look like it might be the case. He may still win. But if he does, it'll be by a very narrow margin, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins at all, again. But we don't know. That's August 18th. It's a few days away. 14 days.
Yep. Now, here's some other interesting things here, because some people would think, right, because we're nasty and mean, allegedly, as Canadians, because we dared be a country that dared and deigned to respect itself.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Donald Trump is not a big fan of people who have self-respect.
Oh, he loves dictators, though.
Yes. So,
did I say that right? Dictators? No, dictators.
Dictators. Oh my God.
Dictators. Sorry, I got it mixed up. Freudian slip, I guess. I don't know.
Dictators.
Dictators. Yeah. I'm dyslexic, so sometimes I mix up my spelling of words and say them incorrectly. It happens. It's nothing Freudian. I'm dyslexic, so sometimes that happens.
Oh my God.
Got you good,
Oh,
didn't I?
oh shit. I'm disappointed that I didn't think of that one somewhere along the
Well, I
way.
mean, you know,
Oh my god, that's so good. I'm crying. Uh, okay, so this polling polling data, according to, of all places, the most liberal polling firm in Canada, Angus Reid. Mark Carney approval polling. Approve 57%, disapprove 34%. Question: when it comes to a trade deal with the United States, how should Canada approach negotiations? Focus on the best deal available, regardless on whether there are tariffs or not. Accept only an agreement with no tariffs, or unsure. Accept only an agreement with no tariffs, 20%. Focus on the best deal available, regardless of whether there are tariffs or not, 68%. So while conservatives are going around, and particularly the machine, saying Mark Carney promised that he was the guy to get us a deal with no tariffs, and he's failed. Number one, he never promised that.
no.
Because
No.
if he had, and this is how you know it's bullshit, kids and cubs, because if he had actually promised that in those specific words, elect me and I will get us a deal that has no tariffs.
Yeah.
Um, there would be video clips of that
Yes.
accompanying those all over. There would be quotes from newspapers, and there would be links to print articles.
National Post would go crazy with that shit.
Yes. Everybody's saying he said it, but nobody can present an actual text
He
or
never said
video
it.
clip or an article in which he's quoted actually having said that.
Because he never said it.
Okay, so number one. So it's while they're turning around and saying, "Oh my God, we didn't get a deal with no tariffs. We're so terrible. That's horrible." Only 20% of Canadians want or would say that accept only an agreement with no tariffs. Everybody else is saying, "Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We understand.
get the best deal, whether there are tariffs or not."
We
And
know how the world works.
yes, and let's remember again, kids and cubs, that Canada has never, ever, 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 ever had a trade deal with the United States that had no tariffs.
Yeah, not once.
Okay. There were always softwood, sort of all
Mhm.
these things, right? But overall, right, under the World Trade Organization, right, there are certain rules. And then the United States had what was called a preferred nations
Right.
status. Canada had that. So we effectively had a tariff rate of about 2.5% around there overall on stuff like this. But we've never had, ever in history, a
No.
tariff-free deal. So I'm not sure why the conservatives want Canadians to believe that the most famous and well-regarded central banker in the world living at this moment would ever have promised a deal with zero trade tariffs and that he was the man to do that when that has never existed.
Well, and let's remember, he is not a lifelong politician. This is a man who worked in banking. Hard facts, hard truths. The fact that people are saying he said something he never said is ridiculous because he doesn't have a track record of doing that,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Right. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Asked of those who say Canada should counter tariff, so they were asked, right?
mm,
Should we do that or should we not? Right? What if the U.S. increases their tariffs further? Do you think that Canada should use counter tariffs still or not use them? Not use them, 5%.
yeah.
Use them still, 95%. So for those who say that we should impose counter tariffs, and if the United States ups the ante, well, fuck them, up the ante again.
Well, now, there's no deal right now, right?
Right.
They're stretching it out. Meanwhile, they're negotiating with countries all around the world for new deals
Yes.
because we realize this man can't be trusted. CUSMA or USMCA, greatest trade deal in history. Many people are saying it's the greatest deal ever. Look, this trade
Except
deal
me
is
in
seen at levels
2025.
never seen before. I'm just pulling out all of his
Mhm.
bullshit that he spews each and every time he opens his shithole of a mouth. Look, the man said it was the greatest deal ever. 4 years later, worst deal in history. You mean the one you negotiated and signed? So what you're saying is you actively are terrible at your job. You are terrible at your job, and you just told the whole world. No, wasn't me. Yes, it was you. It was you. We saw you say it. It's not AI. It was live on television. You said it. And then 4 years later, you come back and said it wasn't any good, and you need to renegotiate because you're in a trade
I know. Now,
mental gymnastics to just try and keep up with that, man.
Now, of those who said that we should counter tariff, right? 95% said use counter tariff. The next question: what if it causes financial suffering to Canadians? Still use counter tariffs or don't use them? Don't use them, 24%. Keep using them, 76%.
There you go.
Canadians are pissed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pissed and in it for the long haul. We're at a point where we don't 76% of the people who still say use counter tariffs anyway don't care how much pain it causes. Just use them. There's some resolve there. Canada should respond to American tariffs with counter tariffs equal to whatever the US imposes, counter tariffs less than what the US imposes, or no counter tariffs, and unsure. Unsure, 16%. No counter tariffs at all, 18%. Counter tariffs, but less than what the US imposes, 8%. Counter tariffs equal to whatever the US imposes, 59%. So even though we can't actually do that, dollar for dollar tariffs on absolutely everything because if the United States keeps escalating and we do too, at one point we run out of economy and they still have some.
Yeah.
Doug Ford running around in front of every camera saying, yeah, slap them as hard as they're slapping us. Let's go. Let's do that. That's resonating with people. The bad cop act of Doug Ford, it's resonating. Canadians are pissed. So pissed. Yeah, dollar for dollar. Just give as good as we're getting. Go. And that's not among only those who say that we should respond with counter tariffs. Right? Well, I guess, sorry. Yes, I guess that is. So 59 plus 8, 67% of Canadians say that we should respond with some types of counter tariffs. And then 59% of those say, sorry. And then, well, 76% of those are saying, yeah, even if it causes financial suffering. So that's a significant portion. That's probably when you add it up. Not sure exactly. I can't do the math in my head that quickly. 76% to 59%. But I'm going to say that comes out to about a third of Canadians, pretty solidly.
Well, the vast majority of Canadians have been buying Canadian and trying to buy Canadian. Say trying to buy Canadian because some grocery stores are labeling made in Canada. If you flip it over and look on the back, product of USA.
Right.
And they're getting in trouble for this. And I'm like, you know what it is? Because they have products on their shelves that they need to offload. So they'll lie to you about the origin of the product because they only care about the bottom line. And I understand that. You're a business.
Yep.
But when you directly lie to your customers and tell them you're stupid enough to believe the bullshit I'm feeding you, the blowback on that is going to be huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, that's playing the short game and sacrificing the long game for that.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to win on this one. People will remember. You betrayed us. Fool me once, right?
Yeah, indeed. Now, here again, much more interesting. Like I said, this really surprised me. And again, this is Angus Reid. Would you prefer to see Canada take a hard or soft approach to trade negotiations with the United States? This is not among just those who say we should counter tariff. This is everyone. Hard or soft? Soft. Make concessions to keep a good relationship? 31%. Refuse concessions even if it makes the relationship worse? 69%. Don't sign a damn thing. So 31%, I'm guessing conservatives. And pretty much everyone else going, no, don't make concessions. Fuck them. Next question. And this is kind of relevant because weirdo Roman Baber, who used to be a Ontario Conservative MP, and Doug Ford thought that he was too weird
Yeah. So he booted
for
him.
him, so kicked him out, and then he went all across the internet for the time he was no longer an MPP, making a case for himself, trying to get the attention of Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre did give him his attention, and he got the nomination for York Centre, and then won, and is now the Conservative Member of Parliament for York Centre. While on August 1st, he tweeted this. 2 days before the trade talks deadline, the Liberals blindsided the United States by not giving notice of Canada's intention to recognize a Palestinian state. Mark Carney placed Gaza politics ahead of Canada's economic interests. Outrageous. So we have a Conservative MP who, in this age of Trump repeatedly punching us in the face, saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that we didn't give the United States advance notice of our intentions as a sovereign country, that we were going to recognize the Palestinian state, because we do not live in a reality where the United States has blindsided us a few times lately." Again, face down, ass up. Conservative. If only we had sought the United States' blessing or permission before we decided to make this move on Palestine, we would have a deal now. He wants us to believe. Well, Canadians are not particularly down with that either. If recognizing a Palestinian state proves to be a barrier in trade negotiations with the U.S., should Canada reverse that decision? Again, Angus Reid. Unsure, 17%. Yes, reverse the decision, 20%. No, recognize Palestine, 63%.
Wow.
Canadians are pissed. 63% of Roman Baber's point of view is the point of view of 20%. That's even lower than the Conservative base number.
That's kind of surprising. Not. There are more sensible centrist people in this country than not.
The Conservatives are so on the wrong side of this issue.
And here's the thing, they'll stay there. They'll stay there
I
because
know.
they can't admit they were wrong about anything.
I know. So these polling numbers that show that the Liberals, if there was an election today, have the highest chance of forming a majority since they were elected, and only 20% thinking it's a good idea or thought that we should have advised the United States of our intentions or maybe asked permission or groveled first before we did it.
Mm.
Pierre, Conservatives, take a smell of the room. What you're doing is not working. The constant negativity, the constant bashing on Canada, the constant preaching that we should roll over, the constant preaching that we should enter negotiations face down, ass up with the United States, and don't you dare ask for lube. Don't you dare have the temerity to ask for lube.
He wants to tell us he's a proud Canadian and this and that. Look, the only thing he's proud of is the money in his bank account. That's it.
That's
the only thing he cares about. He does not want to govern. He wants to rule over you so he can pad his bank account. He's a narcissist.
Yep. And this is like, you are so on the wrong side of the issue.
Oh, God.
Because you're not even keeping the entirety of your Conservative base here. Well, sorry. You've got the base of the base, because that's who you're throwing red meat to. But your problem in the last election is that you lost moderates, and now you're losing even less moderates by being so all in.
Well, it's because the moderates are actually looking at what the Prime Minister is doing and going like, well, no, that makes sense.
The Liberal leader is being a better Conservative than actual Conservatives.
Well, it's because, remember, they're Conservative in name only.
Right.
They're reformers.
Right. And then when we're looking about Bill C5 and all of the talk about pipelines specifically, support for a new pipeline to the West Coast for export, 27% of Canadians oppose, 73% of Canadians support.
So Trans Mountain.
Who knows? Whatever. But the whole thing of Danielle Smith running around Alberta going, oh my God, Canada hates us, Canada. 73% are okay with the pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And support for a new pipeline to the East Coast, specifically for export. Same numbers. Opposed 27%, support 73%. That damn Canada stifling us. Oh my God, that damn
They won't let us get it to Tidewater. They won't blah, 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 blah.
Liberals will never do it. Yeah, exactly. Because you have no oil or gas export right now off the West Coast to other markets because of liberals.
How many pipelines did Stephen Harper's government build again?
Oh, Mr. Grizzly, we've already well established on this show that conservatives are terrible at laying pipe.
We'll just let that one lie.
Even Bill C-69, the alleged no pipelines bill, actually had a small stretch of pipeline built under it.
Yeah.
Just
Why tell the truth when a lie will do, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be the other way around, folks. It's supposed to be why lie when the truth will do. But
I know. But these data points here, when we're add that to the strategy, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the Canadian strategy is getting license from what Canadians are doing and saying.
Right.
The not shopping, the no tourism, answering these polls and saying, yeah, fuck them. It's like, slap them on those tariffs, right? In the United States, the people of the United States have been told that it's going to be raining pennies from heaven
Well, I can show you.
when all of this happens. Over here, we've been told there's going to be some pain. We're going to have to accept some pain. And we all said, yeah, we're down for it. The United States the citizens of the United States haven't agreed to any pain whatsoever. They agreed to big windfalls.
Well, so Trump likes to point out that the tariff revenue rose in July to $29.6 billion. And I have a graphic here I'll share with you because this graphic kind of sums it up. This is tariff rose in July. Let's just change up this so it's easier to see. Oh, hang on. There we go. This is the part where Americans started paying higher taxes because Donald Trump is an economic illiterate. Right?
Yep.
It's what it is. I mean, like, $29.6 billion in additional costs passed on to American families in July because Trump's tariffs. This is what it looks like when our economy is held hostage by a man who bankrupted casinos. I mean,
yeah. So he's got other countries able to ship cars into the United States at a tariff rate that's lower than anything made in North America.
Right.
He's taking away Medicare and food stamps while there's a basically import tax or consumer tax on absolutely everything that people need that comes from elsewhere. When you're talking about these types of things, right now, there's certain things that the United States can make itself or whatnot, but things like electronics, for example, pretty much everything electronics has something from Asia in there. 97% of shoes and clothes purchased in the United States are also made in Asia. And these tariffs are going to hit just in time for back to school.
How coincidental. But he crashed the market on Friday, right? So when does he reverse the tariffs? Later this week, so that all of his private sector friends, the billionaires, can buy up everything, and everything will be owned by 4 people, or maybe 6. Then they have 100% control over the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're doing. He manipulates the market so the bottom drops out, and they lose some money for a day. But then they buy everything, and it shoots right back up. And then now they own everything, and they have all the money. It's not rocket science, man. This is what is taking place.
Mhm. So, I think you're going to have pressure from the American people that haven't been prepared for any pain, and they're gonna get the opposite of what they required. You've got companies like Stellantis that have recorded a billion-dollar loss in
Mhm.
a quarter.
Yes.
And this deal was supposed to be wonderful for the auto industry. You got other nations or groups of nations allegedly having these permissions to bring in cars at a lower rate, which I'm sure he's going to have to tackle himself on at some point by making other adjustments. You've got the court case that was just heard in the second level of court. That the decision will probably go against Trump there before it has to go to the Supreme Court. So no nations in any rush to put a signature on any deal really until the Supreme Court actually makes that decision, because why would you make a concession if turns up 3 months later you never legally had to? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you wait? Right? Um, and during that time, more of this stuff is going to happen. You've got by Christmas, any company that really loaded up on inventory this in order to beat the tariffs, that won't be there anymore. And then whoever's eating up, if because only about a third of the costs so far have been passed down to the U.S. consumer. So other people are trying to eat things, or the costs have been artificially hidden by people having purchased a lot before. Then you've got the swings and the economic data, which at some point are going to stop because there's only going to be so many times he can tackle himself, and things are going to set in, when inventories run out and whatnot, and the prices do go up at some point. The concept of pre-buying a lot of things before tariffs go up, or buying big ticket items in advance before tariffs go up, that won't be an option anymore, either for consumers or importers or manufacturers. So that will level out, and then people will actually see the full weight of the tariffs.
Right.
And then, um, of course, because Canada has no cards at all, the country, again, led by the guy with the most famous global banker probably in history, against the guy running the country who wants to fire the chair of the Federal Reserve, their own central banker, in order to appoint one that will move interest rates in the way that Donald Trump likes. Um, just the fact putting him there will send the stock market crazy because, again, number one rule of conservative politics is you don't fuck with rich people's money.
No, because they don't
And
like it.
having a central banker that decides that he's going to c- lower interest rates based on the whim of the president rather than on what the data says directly fucks with rich people's money. Just like the president the other day fired the person at the Bureau of Labor Statistics
That's right.
because the employment numbers for May and June, which they said was really gangbusters, turns out that once they did the revised numbers, turns out that the gains were itty bitty bitty bitty. In fact, in terms that last month, Canada created more jobs than the United States did with 1/10 of the population.
So
So
you
Trump didn't like those numbers.
so you fire the guy. And somebody said, "Well, it's because his data has been wrong for the last few years."
Mhm. Again, kits and cubs, the rule of don't fuck with rich people's money. Um, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's the department that calls the balls and strikes on the numbers. Very, 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 very rich people base their business decisions on those numbers. If those numbers are now being issued to please the president or to cover up his incompetence or his fuck ups, very, 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 very rich people can't make good decisions about where their money goes.
Yeah.
So again, pressure from the inside from very, very rich people who elected Trump to give them big tax breaks and screw over the little guy, but not to fuck with their money.
Remember, folks, it's the big beautiful bill for the billionaires. They leave that part out. Big beautiful bill for the billionaires. They
Yeah.
always leave that part out
But
because that's what it's for.
but those billionaires are sitting there like, okay, whoa, wait, we like this like $3.4 trillion tax cut or stuff like that, but you're creating a climate that we don't know what to do with that money now.
Yeah, well, and don't forget you write off your private jets now too.
What the hell? So they didn't sign up for that part when they showed up and paid tribute. Because they didn't show up for that part. They
No.
didn't ask them like, no, do not create numbers that are completely unreliable, and now we don't know where to invest our money and when.
Yeah.
No, we didn't sign up for that. So there are a lot of pressures that are about to come to bear on this man over the next couple of months, and there are going to be plenty of more opportunities for him to tackle himself. And all we need to do is wait and reorient our economy as fast as possible in that meantime, and do or say whatever it is that we need to do and say to Trump to make him feel that he's somehow important, that we keep on showing up to these meetings, that we keep on saying how transformational he is as president, that we keep on, offering up some symbolic things here or there on a as needed basis, and just drag this out until pressure from the inside starts getting him to reverse decisions. And again, also remember, because we have that central banker guy and everybody around the world likes him and nobody around the world really likes Trump. One phone call, because our prime minister has seemingly great convening power. One phone call to a couple of friends with a little bit of coordinated action in terms of either selling US debt or bonds currently held and making the bond market spike up a little bit also will cause a little pressure. So when they say we have no cards, to the nation whose leader can pick up a phone and say, hey, Ursula, hey, Keir, hey, Mr. Japan.
Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again.
How you feeling today? You want to fuck with him? Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, you do this at 3:00 today. We'll do this at 2:00 tomorrow. You do this on Thursday, and yeah, let's see how long his diaper stays clean.
Well, didn't he just threaten nuclear war with Russia? Said we're prepared to go to nuclear war with Russia. I'm like, oh, so you need to distract us from the Epstein file. And have you noticed though? Did you pay attention to what I just called that file?
Yes.
Because people keep saying the Epstein file. It's not Epstein. It's Epstein.
As in, he should have abstained from going to right in on that lane.
They're even trying to change the name of the file.
So,
it's not Bruce Springsteen. It's Bruce Springsteen. It's not Jeffrey Epstein. It's Epstein. Yeah, just anyway. It's all about distraction. Threatening nuclear war with Russia, so nobody will look at the fact that Donald Trump is a 34 times convicted rapist, pedophile. 34 times convicted felon, rapist, pedophile. And
well, for pedophile, we have to say allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, no, wasn't he in the E. Jean Carroll case?
That's not pedophilia, though. That's the rapist
you're right.
and stuff. Yes, but that's
allegedly for alleged pedophile. Correct.
Yes, we have to say it's on half too. um, so again, on the cards thing, this is from July 15th, and this is from Jean Simard or Jean Simard.
Jean Simard.
Because I'm not sure if it's Jean or Jean here. I can't tell from the picture; it's too small.
Is it Simard or simmered?
Simard. I'm going to say Jean Simard here.
Okay.
And he's the president and CEO of the Aluminium Association of Canada. And I love this here. As American policy tilts towards dominance in its relations with other nations, it can be tempting to feel discouraged. But Canada has more opportunities than we might have imagined. This rift is forcing us to redefine ourselves, to rise above the status quo, to dig deep to see further ahead. We must remain lucid and build the future in a thoughtful, strategic way. Above all, we need to tell each other the truth. Canada has always been blessed with lots of resources. Today, these are becoming more and more strategically valuable for our country. From oil and gas to potash to uranium and a family of critical minerals on which the world increasingly depends, Canada does indeed have, quote, cards to play. Our resources are the envy of the planet as China, Russia, and the United States want to dominate their strategic sectors of critical minerals and their processing. Aluminium, a critical mineral, is an excellent example of a product where Canada has leverage. Producing aluminium requires a large, dependable, long-term supply of competitively priced energy. Energy accounts for 40% of what it takes to make aluminium. Drawing on vast amounts of hydropower, Canada produces 80% of North America's primary aluminium. Today, we export 90% of what we produced, mostly to the United States, where it is processed into products such as cars, airplanes, and appliances for the U.S. consumer market. If the U.S. wanted to produce the aluminium itself, the biggest challenge it would face is where to get the energy they would need. To replace Canadian aluminium imports, America would need to find 40 million megawatts per hours of energy, which is roughly the equivalent of what it takes to power 460 data centers. And remember on that show that we showed you recently, one data center is 1 gigawatt. Oh, no, sorry, that's a show to come. Sorry, that we pre-recorded. But Tim Houston.
Nobody's seen it yet.
Yes, Tim Houston, with his Wind West project that he's looking to do, has calculated that one data center requires 1 gigawatt of energy. This is here the total that it would take to power 460 data centers.
Wow.
Or 3.7 million homes. Or Vermont, Alaska, Delaware, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire combined. To replace our aluminium with new domestic capacity, America would need the equivalent of at least 4 new Hoover dams of competitively priced energy, 15 to 20 years, and billions of dollars to construct that supply. But that same energy could be used to power AI and data centers, which are in high demand and willing to pay multiples of what smelters can afford. The smarter choice for America is clearly to continue to import Canadian aluminium and focus their energy resources on other vital priorities. As America works through its considerations, we need to be clear-eyed here in Canada, because we won't replace a market of 340 million people with a Canadian market of 40 million. We must leverage government procurement, which is by far our largest domestic market, accounting for nearly 15% of our GDP. As Prime Minister Carney and the provincial premiers have embraced, Canada must become one economy, and this should include going beyond eliminating interprovincial trade barriers. By leveraging scattered federal and provincial procurement markets, Canada can offer scale and market density for private sector investments, which in turn will dial up innovation and strengthen our competitiveness. Smart procurement choices in housing and defense can also open up sizable new markets for Canadians. For years, major industrial sectors and unions have been calling for differentiated access for Canadian materials, goods, and products in government tenders. Studies and analyses, legal and technical, abound. We have heard and read everything, but we haven't done much. The time for action has arrived, and we can't afford to fail or shrink from the idea of change. Change is coming. We can shape it or have it shape us. Bureaucracies must become more action-oriented and able to take risk and urge to collaborate with the private sector. Between the crushing level of regulation in Europe and the reckless deregulation south of the border, Canada can avoid a race to the bottom and adopt an agile, intelligent regulatory approach. It's time to put an end to delays and unjustified administrative burdens in favor of an incentive-based policy framework that frees initiative, innovation, and capital. The economic results will be meaningful for Canadians everywhere. But doing this does not require watering down our values, such as the rule of law, democratic checks and balances, fair distribution of wealth, freedom of speech, sustainability and inclusion, and a social safety net capable of reducing inequalities. Canada must continue to be a place in the world that knows not only the price, but the value of our choices.
Hmm.
So I like this one because, again, when you take things and put it in perspective, the title of this one was Yes, We Have Cards, by the way, because just aluminium alone, if it's going to take that long for the US to do that, again, and a lot of points they made, right?
Right.
Do you want to spend those 460 gigawatts making sure you have enough aluminium and taking 20 years to do that? Or would you like to spend those 460 gigawatts on AI data centers, the economy of the future?
Yeah, that's kind of
Um, During the time, you want to destroy the Canadian auto sector and bring all their plants there. But if you don't have our aluminium, how do you make the cars now that you closed all our plants? And if it's going to take you 20 years to build that equal capacity, then don't you just sacrifice your auto sector at the same time?
yeah.
Again, listen, if you guys want to punch yourself in the dick,
Feel free.
we're happy to wait until you're done. I just so, and then that's just aluminium. Then add steel, then add copper, then add critical minerals. All the things that we have that they don't need. And the amount of time it would take them to either source elsewhere or find capacity in-house. So again, the Conservatives panicking, just fear. Conservatives know one emotion, right? Two emotions, fear and greed. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, things are terrible. We need to sign a deal. We need to sign a deal quick. We need to secure this quick, or else it means that we failed. So conservatives are always ready to sign a deal quick and give up too much in exchange for a minimum of stability. And you know that expression, those who would sacrifice freedom for security deserve neither?
Yeah, it's Benjamin Franklin was famous for that.
Those who would sacrifice sovereignty for stability also deserve neither.
Agreed.
And this is a thing that conservatives have done a lot during the first negotiation that brought us CUSMA, when we weren't getting a deal fast enough for the conservatives' liking. What was the drumbeat then? Oh my God, Trudeau's doing so terrible. I can't believe we don't have a deal yet. We're a laughingstock. And then what happened? We got a trade deal that was so good, considering the circumstances, that Donald Trump went from loving it to hating it and reminding us how nasty Chrystia Freeland in particular was. Because we got a good deal. And we realized then, at that point, that we needed to drag our heels at one point to let the pressure of the midterms bring about some clarity of thought from the United States side of the border when it came to negotiating. And then you'll remember when we detained Meng Wanzhou
Mm-hmm.
from Huawei, and we remember all the conservatives saying, "Oh my God, we should have just let her go to the United States and be detained there. Oh, maybe we should just send her back to China and disregard our extradition treaty with the United States." The same conservatives, right, that say, "Oh my God, why don't you just work at the border? Give him what he wants on that, and everything will be fine." A couple of years ago, we're preaching with the United States, we don't need to respect our extradition treaty with the United States. Nothing bad can happen to us if we don't respect our extradition treaty with the United States. But now we're in 2025. Oh my God, we didn't advise the United States that we're going to have our own policy independently on Palestine. Oh, just before trade deal. It's amazing how they flip. So, yes, when we had Meng Wanzhou in order to make things easier in our relationship with China, just surrender her back to China or disregard our extradition treaty law and just allow China to impose China law in Canada. is something they would have done. And now here we are again on a trade deal. And once again, oh my God, we're not the first country to have struck a deal. Wow, we're such failures. Elbows down, chortle, chortle, ha ha, elbows down. This is not a serious party. This is a party that would not pass the marshmallow test.
Oh, God, no.
Secure a deal quick. Doesn't matter what it costs us. They're still talking to us as if they believe there exists a reality in which Donald Trump is a rational actor who actually respects deals. You maybe make a deal and sign a deal fast if you have an ironclad guarantee that whatever you agree to will be respected. But we don't have that. And even then, you don't do that. You don't take the first deal offered. This is just dumb. Conservatives, supposedly great with the economy. Crawl over to the United States on hands and knees, get into the downward dog position, and beg for mercy. Agree to everything. Just sign it. Let them put it in front of you and sign it. That's literally what they're preaching right now.
Anyone who knows anything about the history of this nation is we do not do that. We never have.
No.
We can negotiate independence without firing a shot because we're very good at negotiating. Number one and number two, people know better than to mess with Canadians. You want to pick a fight with us? We're like my Dogo Argentino. Happy, 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 happy. Wait, what did you say? Take that back. Oh, it's on now. We don't back down, and we've never lost, ever.
Now, Mr. Grizzly, I'm going to send you a clip here. This is a Global News article or video segment about this, what's going on, because one of our premiers, Scott Slomo, had some thoughts he thought he should share about what it is, how we should proceed as a nation with regard to our trade with the United States. And again, I say face down, ass up. Here's a prime example.
We should look at where we want to get to in the North American trade environment, and that is a low tariff or no tariff trade environment. I'd say the first step for us as Canadians is to move towards reducing and even removing some of the counter tariffs that we have in place. If our very argument and what is factually happening today is that President Trump's tariffs are causing harm to American families and causing harm to American businesses, of which they are, as we're seeing slow job growth in the United States the last 2 months. By that very extension, any counter tariffs that Prime Minister Carney and or anyone puts on American goods that we are purchasing as Canadian families and Canadian businesses would then cost us more and do harm to the competitiveness of the Canadian economy that we have. And I think if we're serious about achieving, our renewed and a revamped and an enhanced trade environment, or some type of a new and improved USMCA, somebody's going to have to move in this space, and we would suggest that it should be Canada. The reason we will be urging for a reduction of counter tariffs is, one, is that they hurt Saskatchewan and Canadians.
We gotta go over that one again, because
yes, please do.
Going to have to move in this space, and we would suggest revamped and an enhanced trade environment, or some type of a new and improved USMCA. Somebody's going to have to move in this space, and we would suggest that it should be Canada. The reason we will.
Why? Why should we be the ones who move first? Why? Why should we cave first?
Elect a clown, you get a circus.
Be urging for a reduction of counter tariffs is, one, is that they hurt Saskatchewan and Canadians, our families and our businesses and our places of work. In the same way that Donald Trump's tariffs are pushing up the cost of doing business in the U.S. and really pushing them into a situation where the last 2 months running, their job numbers have been much more dismal than the projections. So somebody needs to move in this space, and we're suggesting that Canada should start moving towards a no tariff trade environment by reducing the countermeasures or the counter tariffs that we have in place, but negotiating every step of the way to ensure that the U.S. is reciprocating with any corresponding reductions. It could start.
So let me see if I get Scott correct here. When we were charging Juno Beach and everybody was running into fire, he would have been screaming, "Retreat, retreat, retreat, all is lost, retreat."
Yep.
You know what? I don't like this man, and I never have. I like him even less today. We'll continue.
Start with the DST, the digital service tax, which was removed a week or two ago, is to, what next steps is Canada ready to take and what corresponding steps could the U.S. take. We need to do this because we need to have a strong North American economy. It's so integrated that we need to find a solution to this, and we need to find it soon. And we have an opportunity, I think, as Canadians at the moment with the continuation of the current USMCA agreement to find a solution without having the large-based impacts that we're going to see in other countries. But we cannot underestimate or in any way undervalue the impact of having the USMCA agreement continuing to be in place. That covers about 95% of Saskatchewan's exports to the United States of America, and most certainly are going to allow us to continue to provide the exports that we provide, that we build and produce in Saskatchewan to our American neighbors.
He wants us to roll over. And he was the first to roll. He was among the first to roll over. Remember, the Saskatchewan is selling U.S. booze and has removed all the restrictions to dealing with the United States in terms of access to public contracts and all that kind of stuff and bidding and procurement.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone belly down a few weeks ago. And he's out there saying the entire country should do that. That's the way forward. Let's just make more concessions and see, because Trump said fentanyl. So we worked on the border.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. Then Trump said, "Oh, the digital services taxes." Okay, we rescinded it. It doesn't seem
It's
to
always
matter.
going to be one more thing with him.
Then
So
Trump said,
you can't.
Trump said August 1st, we'll have a deal. So we worked towards that. It didn't matter. Scott Moe is still sitting there at a podium, at a table with a microphone saying, maybe if we just give up something else, this time it will matter.
Mo, just stop. Just stop. You are actively trying to harm us, and we don't like it. I don't like it.
I can't with this guy.
I know.
I can't. Oh my God.
He was Captain Canada for all of 30 seconds?
Right?
Same with Doug Ford, though. Doug Steep continues to cosplay as Captain Canada, but come on, you just handed a $140 million contract to a U.S.-based construction company. So it's...
Listen, while Doug Ford was playing Captain Canada, we kept on pointing it out on the show. He kept on going around the United States with this Little Fortress AmCan pamphlet.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that the solution was to snuggle closer into the arms of the guy who wants to twist our neck.
Yeah.
We know on what side of the ledger Doug Ford sits on. For all his cosplaying as Captain Canada, Ford is pro-Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Even for all his pretenses and all his big act and whatnot. Now it's good that he's cooperating with Team Canada doing the bad cop thing because it is needed. But he's still going behind our back and signing deals and looking to do business. He's still trying to get invited to the Trump Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. He said he was a big-time Republican and a big-time Trump supporter. You still support him now, Doug?
Oh, my God.
Doug can turn a profit off of something. He'll support him.
Exactly. bit I got for you here with regard to this, Kits and Cubs, is probably something you've heard about by now. But it seems that, thankfully, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper had engaged in some type of a not panel discussion, but was the keynote guest at an
Yes.
event in Saskatchewan at which many Americans were in attendance. And if you've seen the news articles, the big news item that came out of that was that um, Prime Minister Carney had called him to ask for his advice. Listen to this, and throughout it, he has thrown shade left, right, and
Mhm.
center at the United States. Throws a little shade Trudeau's way as well. That one's a little more good-natured. But the clip I want to show, I've isolated for today, and we might come back to this in this talk of his in future episodes with a little more. But for the specific purposes of today, since we're talking about the Canada-U.S. relationship here, here's some of his thoughts with regard to trade currently with the United States.
One of the things that's been interesting is that in May, for the 4 consecutive months, trade with the U.S. has actually gone down from Canada, including that month, it went up 5.7% to other parts of the world. So I wanted to get your perspective on what's the longer-term view in terms of trade from Canada, and then also what would you want to tell our American colleagues here?
Yeah, look, really good question. You have to be careful about interpreting too much from month-to-month data because there's a lot of noise, a lot of natural fluctuation in that. I think we all are aware, certainly anybody in the airline hospitality business is aware of the decline in Canadian vacation travel to the United States. It's been very dramatic. Look, I was just gonna put it in this context, just so everyone understands. I think it's fair to say, probably the most pro-American Prime Minister, Canadian
Yeah. Yeah.
in history. And I tell people that if a year ago the government had asked me, President Trump's coming in, he's talking about, big challenges on trade, USMCA, tariffs. What would you advise? I would have said a year ago, this is a real opportunity for Canada to really deepen its economic and security partnership with the United States. However, when this government did actually ask me a few weeks ago my advice was the opposite. My advice was, yes, on the economy, we've got to kind of get something short-term worked out with the Trump administration, but this really is a wake-up call for this country to truly diversify its trade export markets. That's why we did sign the trade deals all around the world, Europe, Asia, Pacific, the Americas. And Canada has been, to be blunt, this is nothing against the U.S. The reality is, independent of the current disputes, Canada has been, to use business term, and I'm in the investment business now, we have been grossly overweight the United States as a country. And there is no reason for that. Just because we have that geographic proximity does not justify the degree of dependence that we have on a single market, which is sometimes disadvantageous. And the other thing, in terms of security, my advice to the government is, yes, absolutely, spend more on defense. We should have been doing it all along. But while we spend a lot more in defense, while the border is a shared responsibility, let's make sure we spend a lot more on defense so that we can be independently responsible for our own land, seas, and skies, independent of the United States.
I'm going to stop him right there. I find that interesting for him saying that, since he cut deeper than anybody had in decades.
And he really, 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 really wanted us to go into Iraq.
Yeah, he did. And he cut the military spending left, right, and center. He cut Veterans Affairs. He cut. And now he's saying, after the fact, hindsight being 2020 vision, we need to spend more. And look, I loathe to agree with him, but I have to agree with him because he's right on this one.
Well, he's surprising us by being right on this one because this alleged trained economist was wrong about pretty much everything when he was prime minister.
Well, and he said a year ago I would have said deepen our trade, but today I'm like, no.
Okay. The head of the IDU is cutting bait on Trump.
That should be telling.
While Pierre is still not able to give a full-throated denunciation.
Well, it makes me believe that and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think Pierre losing his seat, Harper's kind of like, now we're going to cut him loose.
Well, I am glad you mentioned that, Mr. Grizzly, because if you would, this is a flashback to April of this year when Stephen Harper decided near the end of the election campaign, he was going to put out a little commercial when things were going so bad for Pierre that they weren't putting Pierre in commercials anymore.
Mm-hmm.
During the election campaign, and they decided to put one Harper. I'm wondering if this still applies today.
Canada is and always has been our country. And we want Canada to be a true north that is as strong and as free as it can be. In every way that matters, the best country in the world. I said these words as Prime Minister, and they are still true today. I led Canada through the global financial crisis. Today, we also face big
Did you really?
challenges from the Trump administration and the performance of our own economy. The two men running to lead us both once worked for me, and my choice unequivocally is Pierre Poilievre. Only Pierre is putting forward an actual plan to make life affordable, make our streets safer, and put us in a strong position in dealing with the U.S. Only Pierre will bring change. Please join with me in voting Conservative.
Yeah.
So a year ago, you would have said, yes, what a great opportunity with the United States. But now you say, maybe not. A couple of months ago, you said you would choose Pierre, but you're bragging about being called by the current government to give them advice. And the advice that you're giving them is what they were doing anyway.
Interesting.
Would you still pick Pierre, Steve?
I think he's cutting bait and running.
Oh,
Honestly,
that did not age well.
Honestly, I think he's done with Pierre. Pierre lost his seat, is defeated, and now he's trying to parachute into Battle River Crowfoot, and it's not sitting well with a lot of the people in that riding. And Harper sees the writing on the wall, and he's like, "No, I'm out. I'm done. No, I'm going to support the current government because they're doing what's right." And they asked me for my advice, and I gave them the advice, and the advice is continue to do what you're doing because I think it's the right thing. Like, wow. Sir, I have to go.
Yes, I imagine that Skippy dipped into some eggnog after seeing that clip from him speaking at that conference.
Yeah, maybe.
It too, Stephen.
Yes. Yep. Well, he's not going to back a loser.
My God, I love this.
Yeah, I do got to go, though. I have to take care of something.
Can you give us some words of wisdom before you go, Mr. Wesley?
Yeah, try and enjoy this holiday. If it is a holiday for you, indeed, get out and enjoy some nice weather. Hopefully it's not too smoky wherever you are. Get some exercise. And remember, we still have a few days of summer left. So let's take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll see you.
All right. Thanks, my friend. Nice to have you. There we go. And yes, I was correct. It is a civic holiday in the Yukon Territory today as well. All right, kids and cubs. that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us, and I get to say us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring, and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We appreciate it when you do. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like us to help you because you are a busy Canadian on the go making things happen and doing democracy, don't worry, we got your back. If you don't have time to watch us, you can listen to us. Take us with you. We're portable, thanks to the generous support of the Ray Girl, who sponsors our pod page. Podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. That's where you can go to find the ears only version audio casts of our show, so that when you can't be at home to watch us, well, you just pop us in your ears and take us along with you. There we go. We make it easy because we like to help. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like to help us, then please surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page as Kits, Cassie, and Elaine would beckon you. QR code that just appeared will bring you right there. And when you get there, we have 3 buttons for you to smash with: our like button, our share button, and our subscribe button. The subscribe button's a little shy, so it needs a little coaxing, but you can smash. Don't worry. When you do that, it helps us so much with the algorithm, and we thank you so very much. And kids and cubs, if you would like to help us in other ways, well, hey, we got a deal for you. You can go to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And there you will find the Beaver Lodge's Emergency Hydration Fund, where you can do your bit, kids and cubs, to fight the scourge that is dry beaver. Mm. Yum, 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 yum. A little contribution there goes a long way and helps us with the costs that we incur to bring this show to you. So if you would like to give us an enthusiastic expression of encouragement because you like what we do and you would like us to do more, we would definitely be grateful for your help. And as our labs here at the Beaver Lodge confirm, tipping is wonderful, and it makes you 17.8% more interesting at parties. It does. And other social gatherings, not just parties. So, kids and cubs, donate away because tipping is very sexy. All right, kids and cubs, because democracy is something that you do. We're going to be flogging this for a while here, but Mr. Thomas Lukasik has in Alberta the Forever Canadian initiative going on, which is um, an initiative from him to bring a question, a citizens' initiative question for a referendum that would make it such that the question asking whether or not Alberta should remain in Canada. Very, very important thing, kits and cubs. So, in order to get that question on the ballot, because he filed his paperwork first and then had the question approved by Elections Alberta to get the authorization to get to the next phase, which is acquiring close to 300,000 signatures, kits and cubs. And he'll probably need more because Danielle Smith will do whatever she can to try to invalidate some. So let's say what we're aiming for 350,000 signatures here, kits and cubs. So if you live in Alberta, you do need to go to www.forever-canadian.ca. And there, kits and cubs, you can sign on to pledge to sign the petition if it comes. You can also sign to donate to Forever Canadian if you want to help it, to register to help as a volunteer, and specifically to be a canvasser if that's something that would interest you, because they will need in acquiring signatures. And there have been drives already starting. Here we got to Thomas Lukasik giving us a little update here. Pouring rain did not deter these Canadians from signing the Forever Canadian petition. One family drove from Fort McMurray to Edmonton, signed the petition, and immediately drove back. Amazing. Thank you. And then, of course, there's lots here. Thomas, let me help you do this. And Calgary, and there's lots of other people asking to help here. And again, more images here. Beyond proud to sign the Forever Canadian.ca petition in Old Strathcona this morning. Alberta is better in Canada, and Canada is better with Alberta. Thanks for putting this on, Thomas Lukasik. That's Mr. Aaron Singleton who put that. And again, getting lots of congratulations from people here. So yeah, see, lots of pictures. So this is definitely something that's happening that is gaining some traction in Alberta. And here again, he says, Forever Canadian has already scored a big win. This initiative has united Albertans of all political stripes. Our campaign team is made up of political and community leaders who campaigned against each other in the past. We're talking and learning from each other. So there we go. And again, everyday Canadians are also sharing this information. So yes, Forever Canadian is out there looking for some help. And if you want Alberta to remain in Canada and you are a proud Albertan, but also a very proud Canadian, your help is needed here. Because as we say on the show, democracy is something that you do. So this is a perfect opportunity to get to put some to get your body in the game here and get on the field and canvas for some signatures. Even if you're only able to collect 15 or 20 in your closest circle, every signature counts. So please help. If you can help, please do. Right? We already had Mr. Grizzly's words of wisdom. So kits and cubs, please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And if you are still feeling some afterglow of the World Swimming or Aquatics Championships, in which Canada emerged with 8 medals, I believe, from the pool, and then one of the diving event, if I remember the numbers correctly. And you're still basking in the amazing achievement of Summer McIntosh. We have another Canadian athlete, some absolute extraordinary things tonight. Victoria Mboko will be playing at the National Bank Open, the last Canadian remaining in the tournament, singles or doubles. And she will be playing her match today, which I believe is a quarterfinal match after having defeated world number 2 sets over the weekend. Just an amazing display. She has another person that has been causing some upsets throughout the tournament here from Spain. Her name is, sorry, things are taking a little slower time to load here. But the one player in the world at the time that the tournament started, Jessica Buzas Manera, also made it to the semifinal. So we have this is definitely a winnable match for Victoria Mboko if she can handle the moment, which would then bring her to the semi-final of the tournament. And at that point, when it's semifinals and you got the adrenaline happening, could Victoria Mboko win the whole thing right now? It seems like she could. So if you want to watch another Canadian who is making us proud on the international stage, tune in. It says here that the match should start at around 7:30 Eastern time tonight. Of course, there's another match, the other quarterfinal scheduled for this evening before it. So if that match goes a little long, the start time will be a little delayed. But at the earliest, 7:30 p.m., turn on your TV and cheer on a Canadian who is doing us really, really proud, and check out one of Canada's latest sports phenomenon. Now that summer is definitely enjoying some well-deserved rest after mining for gold for 8 days, pretty much nonstop. All right, that's all I've got for today, kids and cubs. So can you please give me a little hand? And on the count of 3, say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. On 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes. That is wonderful. Okay, let me help you. Yeah. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, good. Before we go, just very briefly, a little shout out to some of our athletes that don't get a lot of attention, but Canada's male field hockey team was playing at the Pan American Cup over the past little while and had a pretty capturing, if I am not mistaken, the bronze medal at the event, defeating Chile in that match in order to take third place. Argentina finished first, the USA second, and then Canada. So a good result for our men's field hockey team. Sorry, here at the Pan American Cup for the men. And for the women, also a good performance. No medal for Canada for the women, but still a fifth place finish, defeating Mexico 2-0 for that placement. And so some good results. Again, field hockey doesn't get a lot of attention here in Canada. It seems that if we're playing hockey, but we're not on ice and skating, we're skilled for some reason when we have to run at the sport. But these were very good results, and they get very little attention. So we figured that we would give them a bit of a shout out. All right, kids and cubs, I'm done for the day. Stay with us. Stay with us. Come back and visit us tomorrow, where unfortunately we will not have Mr. Grizzly because he'll be back to the grind. But over the course of this week, later on, I believe on Wednesday morning, we will have a guest with us, Emma Sachs, who is a swimming official. So we'll be able to go over the World Aquatics Championships and celebrate a little bit with someone who knows a bit about the sport. And we'll have an episode on Friday because yours truly is taking a couple of days off and going on a little vacation. So we have pre-recorded some material. And for the show that we have for Friday for you, we have Mr. Grizzly with us because we did it on the weekend. So you'll get to see him again. And next Monday, we will have an interview with Sarah Spanier, who is another independent candidate in Battle River Crowfoot. We had a chance to talk with her this weekend. And therefore, you will have some Grizzly the following Monday as well. And we are still working on a date to get Bonnie Critchley back. We're hoping to be able to record something on Friday that we'll be able to show you next Tuesday if everything goes well. But as you know, it's the final days of the campaign, final stretch, and time is at a premium. So they're trying to fit us in where they can. But hopefully we'll be able to have that and bring that to you because we've always wanted to bring you a second interview with her before the voting day. So that's all I got for you today, right now, kids and cubs. Everybody have a wonderful day. Amour et bisous, and see you tomorrow.